Right, so, they did give the impression of chaos. Kellyanne Conway went out and said that Flynn had the complete confidence of the president. And then within 45 minutes, Sean Spicer was saying not so much. And within another hour, Flynn was gone. So Matt Lauer has Kellyanne, and he's taken her to pieces. Here's the first cut.
Yesterday afternoon on MSNBC, you said that Michael Flynn enjoyed the full confidence of the president. Sean Spicer later said the president was evaluating the situation, and then Michael Flynn resigns overnight. Were you out of the loop on this?
No, not at all. Both were true. The president is very loyal. He's a very loyal person, and by night's end, Mike it was best to resign. He knew he'd become a lightning rod, and he made that decision.
So had he not resigned, the president would continue with him as national security advisor, even though he misled the vice president and the administration about the contents of that call?
That fact is what became unsustainable, actually. I think misleading the vice president really was the key here. And I spoke with the president this morning. He asked me to speak on his behalf and to reiterate that Mike Flynn had resigned. He decided that the situation had become unsustainable for him.
So this happens every time somebody gets the can, basically, in politics. Every time somebody comes out beforehand and says the president has 100%, confidence in this man, and then the trapdoor opens underneath him and he's gone. So the big question, the question that the press is asking is, why did this take so long? If the FBI and the intelligence community had warned, the Justice Department had warned the president that he might be blackmailed because he had said things to the Russians and then had not been honest about what he said, although that seems really, really far out there that would get him blackmailed. But OK, if he knew about it, why didn't he fire him? So here's the exchange where Matt Lauer tries to say that this proves that he was acting for Trump. He was contacting the Russians for Trump, and it was all, basically the administration. I mean, what this is about, let's remember, these sanctions that Obama lowered on them were a political move in the first place. They were just to delegitimize the presidency by saying that the Russians had somehow skewed the election, which we now know is untrue. We now know that people did not vote according to things that the Russians did. That really didn't happen. So this whole thing with the sanctions was a political setup to begin with. So it's not like a real thing, and so he's talking about it. So what the big conspiracy would be, I don't know, but Matt Lauer feels that he's on the trail of something. Here it is.
You're starting to make me think that perhaps General Kelly was not freelancing during that call when he talked about or hinted, General Flynn, that he wasn't freelancing during that call, that in fact he may have been making that call on behalf of the administration or the incoming administration. Would that be accurate?
No, it would be a mistake to conclude that. Remember, in the end, it was misleading the vice president that made the situation unsustainable.
Which the White House knew about last month. And yet yesterday you went on the air and said that General Flynn had the complete and full confidence of the president.
And General Flynn decided that he should resign last night, and the president accepted that resignation. The president is very loyal, and he's been carrying forward with his entire team very effectively, frankly. And at this stage, he accepted the resignation, and he's moving on.
One of the things is, I don't know what the sequence of events was. No one else does either, except for Trump and maybe the few people who were around him. So one of the things I've noticed about commentary is people speculate, and then the speculation becomes the fact, and people just act as if they're crazy speculations or what actually happened. I can imagine Trump is a loyal guy. He does stick with people right down to the end. I can imagine Trump trying to stick with this guy, becoming impossible for Pence to work with him. I think that Trump has a lot of investment in Pence, because I think that he knows that Pence is his connection to Congress. He knows he's not going to get anything. He doesn't know how to deal with, the Senate and the House, and he knows he's not going to get anything done. He knows that Pence gives him respect he wouldn't otherwise have. And there was a lot of noise about the kind of hires that Flynn was making. So maybe Flynn wasn't doing that good a job, and he just eventually said, this has got to happen. I don't know. I do not know what happened. But here's the thing. There's all this talk about the Logan Act. And this is trash, okay? Because the Logan Act essentially says that private citizens are not allowed to negotiate with countries that we're at odds with, basically. And no one's ever one person was once indicted on it. No one's ever been prosecuted on it, ever. No one's ever been prosecuted on it. And if they were, it would be tossed out on First Amendment grounds. I mean, you can talk to anybody you want, and what difference does it make? If I go talk to the Russian ambassador, that's not going to do anything to the country. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing. There's no reason why an incoming administration shouldn't be talking to him. It's absurd. I mean, this part of it is absurd, that he violated some kind of criminality.